Coming up on this program, we show you how to get connected. Find out how to choose an internet service provider. Discover the newest form of communication, electronic mail.
Ways down and ready to ride. One by one, billion by billion, they're holding up half the sky. Raise your hand if you're ready and willing, if you know it's time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl.
Oh, would you look at that? The chat right here to the side, perfectly placed, if I might say so myself. Even I was surprised at that. I love it. How does the purple work on the black? I think it works well. I hope everybody's well today. Thanks for joining me in the kitchen for another case and something to eat. We have to start the oven. First, when you start your oven, you check and make sure there's nothing in your oven. There's nothing in the oven. There was earlier, but I took it out. So now we start the oven to 375. Okay, now that that's going, because, you know, people store stuff in their ovens. I store stuff in my oven. Don't you store stuff in your oven? I really do. Now, what we might be able to do is just indeed, what do we do? How do we make me and the chat and the, I'll come down over here. Okay. So we're going to make cookies today, but we're also watching a TPO hearing. It's a brand new one. It is going to be, I think, as usual, sort of petty. So I'm excited for that for us. We're going, I sort of like this. So why don't we just shrink me down, put me over here. Now the chat's not a side chat, it's a top chat. And then I'll put the video over there. Hi Shane, you have to leave? Or why would K Crimson? Oh, you don't want to leave the room. Never mind, I am getting confused. Regardless, we are gonna watch this here. Actually, so I don't need the other one open. Sorry, I'm just doing a new version of this. So there we go. Okay. Screen capture, perfect. Oh, ooh, it works. It works. Bill, that's funny. Sort of. Here's the deal. I have two things to make. Oh, I want to make, what am I going to do? The chat. No, not there. It was perfect. It is perfect. You are perfect, my chat. I'm the one that's in the way. That's the reality here. Get out of the way, Paisley. Anyways. No, what we'll do is put me on top. I like being on top. Don't let anyone tell you different. There we go. Okay, so we have to go to the right video though. That is just the intro and nobody wants to watch that again. You want to watch this TPO.
Andiker, are you on the Zoom? Can you unmute?
Hold on, Judge. I did my homework. I even wrote it on the fridge. Here we go.
And if that, then again, you've heard me talk about this earlier today, and then I hear testimony, and then I decide whether or not the temporary order gets extended for a year. There is not a temporary order in this case.
Not current, no.
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 And-
It expired.
And so, no, there was never a temporary order in this case.
Oh,
You
not
dismissed the
this
first case.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Give me just a minute.
Me too, Judge. I need just a minute as well. I'm
So,
drink my
just
coffee,
gonna read a
make another
definition
one,
of
and then I'll
harassment,
make it.
unlawful harassment is a knowing and willful course of conduct directed at a specific person that seriously alarms, annoys, harasses, or is detrimental to such person and serves no legitimate or lawful purpose. Course of conduct must be such as would cause a reasonable person to suffer substantial emotional distress and must actually cause substantial emotional distress to the petitioner. And then a course of conduct is a pattern of conduct composed of a series of acts over a period of time, however short, evidencing continuity of purpose. So, so what happens on these cases, I'll swear you in, I'll hear from you. I'll swear in Mr. Wagner, I'll hear from him. I think I got a good sense of your position based on your petition. I did review, there's always two sides to every story. I heard Mr. Wagner, I saw Mr. Wagner's response. So, again, I'm going to start by saying not every conflict is harassment. Sometimes people have conflict, they don't always get along, but it doesn't rise to the level of harassment. They're just, sometimes people who don't like each other and probably shouldn't be apart. Looks like at some point you folks got along. Like according to Mr. Wagner's response, you hired him to do some work. That kind of went south over the leaf blower incident, as far as I can tell. I saw
No, it went
okay.
south over the work.
Okay. Well, could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You can put your hand down. Go ahead. How is it you need an order against Mr. Wagner?
He, after the work was done, he pulled off the job once. And then I said, he came back and sincerely apologized for doing that. And then
Doing what?
stopping the work
Oh, I
before
see.
he was finished. And then I said, okay, this is it. You're welcome to come back. You've left me high and dry, but come on back, finish it up. And that'll be it. I'll pay you what I owe you. And he came back for maybe an hour or two and just messed up his work that he had messed up the work. So he then left. He left in a tizzy, and I was left with the work. So I'm putting away all the stuff. I just moved in, putting away all the stuff, and then I was all finished for the day, and I wanted to blow out my carport just to get it clean. And I had to pick up a lot of trash and whatnot. I had it all done. I wanted to blow it out. I couldn't find my blower. And I knew it had been there, and he was the only.
How many times are they going to say blow or blow out, you guys? Also, I'm making fresh coffee. I think that's the best way to approach this in the morning, since the cookies shouldn't take that long. We'll see. Maybe I won't beat the case today because I'm too lazy making myself another coffee.
We went in there. So I went over to his mother and I said, aside from him walking off the job and leaving all this stuff for me to do, aside from that and attempting to steal money from me, I believe he stole my blower. He stole my blower and I want it back. And this was in the morning. I said, I want my blower back. And she said, well, I'll get a hold of him. I said, well, I'm telling you that you have until 12, and he has until 12 to get it back to me. I knew he was handy to, right there or whatever. And I said, get it, I want it back. Well, he didn't get it back. It got to be 2 or so in the afternoon, something like that. And I called the police and made a report, and they wouldn't come out. They wouldn't come out. And after that, he sent me texts. Why are you bothering my mother? He was very upset about that.
Well, he didn't take the blower, did he?
So no, so I looked and I looked and I looked for the blower. So that evening, that night, I found it on a lower shelf.
Oh my God. Flusha, the cookies are not ready yet. We're getting started. Coffee. Do you want me to put in a Tim Hortons for you? Did he just say that he harassed his neighbor and his neighbor's mom before doing a thorough enough look because he found it afterwards? I swear to God. Do you know how actually fucking pissed off I would be if my neighbor, I mean, I don't know. That's crazy. That shows that he's crazy. That's not cool. I would be super pissed off if my neighbor came to me and accused me of stealing something that I didn't steal. And then, but I would just be like perplexed maybe. And then, but the worst part is, and the judge knew it because he's obviously read this case, so he's looking at it like, bitch, why did you tell me all about it? Like, oh my God. What a wrong way to start this story. All right, let's just continue on. I'm going to get the cookies in. I'm making the pack of cookies this morning so that there's only 12. It says it's simpler than scratch. Well, I'll be the fucking judge of that. I will be the judge of that, Betty Crocker. Anyways, so we're going to take 1/4 cup of butter, softened. Hi, Carol. Carol, I took the butter out earlier. We've already heated the oven. Oh, but here's the thing. I read it, but I didn't actually read it. Heat oven to 375. And what did I do? I turned the oven on to 375. But I didn't read the next part. It says, or 350. Why you got so many options, Betty? For non-stick cookie sheet. Well, I fucking hope it doesn't stick. You got a sticky cookie sheet these days. Is that good? I always use parchment paper. I feel like that eliminates the difference. Anyways, well, we're going with 375. Next, we're going to stir the cookie mix, the soften. Yes, I heard you. I said 375. You're at 375. Water in a medium bowl until dough forms. Also, you saw me wash my hands. Okay, let's continue on with this crazy case. Betty is crocked. Here's the other thing. There's another kit to be made in the house this week that I don't even want to make, but somebody requested red velvet cake, so we have that to make tomorrow.
So I sent him a
I
deep
saw that.
apology. I mean, I was sincerely sorry that he did that, or that I didn't continue to look more, but I was just so sorry. So I slept on it, and the next morning I wrote a sincere apology. And
He included that in his exhibits.
Well, he included that I did. I don't think he did. He had those 2 pages of my apology and them accepting it. And so it was all over kind of. And so I had mixed emotions about, but he had in his text to me, he had said, "You better not bother my mother, and you best be able to sleep with, you're the one that has to sleep with one eye open." I took that as a threat. I took it as a threat, and that's before I apologized about the blower, and they accepted my apology. Him and his mother, I texted each of them.
So, and this happened a couple of months ago,
So
right?
that was, the end of July, after he walked off the job. And anyway, so then I cleaned up. She was very, nice to me, like she had always been. And I was playing cards with her and the women there and stuff, and all was well. But, he was just cold, and I would say hello or whatever. But so it was very uncomfortable. It was just uncomfortable, which is fine. I didn't file anything at that point. I was just going to let bygones be bygones and deal with him being there and parking every day behind my vehicles right there in a spot where he could have parked behind somebody else's house. His mother has a spot for him to park in, a pad. Anyway, so one day, the day before, a couple days before I filed this report, I saw him parking right there, right behind me. And I said, "Could you please find another place to park?"
Does it block you?
Yeah, it blocks me, but there is
Okay, so I'll give you a chance, Mr. Wagner.
there is an alleyway, a one-way alleyway. So it's wide enough, 10 feet, 12 feet of an alleyway behind me and between where he parks. He might have given me a couple, 3 feet of space in this green belt area. And, but, I couldn't pull out. I would have to do, 3-point turns and stuff. And it was just very inconvenient. Plus, we had words, and we weren't, it wasn't a friendly situation. And he had attempted to rip me off during his work time with me. I just couldn't trust him anymore. And plus, he told me to keep one eye open. When I went to sleep, I still felt a threat. Anyway, so I didn't go back to court then. Then I was in my garage, and I saw him parking there, and I said, and he got out of the car. I said, "Could you please park somewhere else? You're blocking me." And he's not, I've experienced another issue with him, that he's not one to be told where to walk or where to park. I experienced this outside of the complex with him, with a gentleman, a guy from that owned a park near us that we happened to be walking through, and he asked us not to walk through there. That was a different issue. It was horrible. It was horrible. So I saw what he was capable of at that time. He got right up in this guy's face, right up into his nose, and the guy was even taller than him.
So I'm not.
All right.
I don't.
But all right, so forget that instance. But I was fearful of this guy. I felt he was dangerous, because he told me to sleep with one eye open. So when he got riled up about me asking to park somewhere else, he just about immediately texted me that he seen smoke come from my bedroom. That's when I called the police.
Okay, let me hear from Mr. Wagner. Mr. Wagner, could you raise your right hand? You swear and affirm the information and testimony you provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
What's your response to the request from Mr. Stein?
I think it's unnecessary, and unfounded. He's just making accusations that are not true. I helped him out a lot. It was not just one job, it was like 3 or 4. I helped move his house. I was very nice to him all the time. And this parking lot situation, his house is there by the parking lot, but it's not his property. It's overflow parking. I'm allowed to park there.
Yeah, remember how I had my problem with my stove before, that the oven didn't work? Well, that stove is still over there, and this is the one that I got replaced, and this element on doesn't ever go off. There's a keyboard here. I promise you there's nothing on the stove, and I've done my research. It doesn't go off. It's evidently not dangerous, but, and it's better than no stove, no one. None of them. They're not on. I promise you. I promise. I pretty promise you there's nothing on. The oven's on, but not anything on the stove. I know the light's on and it says it's on, but it's not. It looks like it's glowing red hot. Weird. No, it's definitely not on, I promise you. I'm touching it. It's cold. It's all over cold. Oh, there's this lid underneath for the coffee. But it's not on, I promise. A series of events made that appear like a serious situation. You guys thought I was gonna light the kitchen on fire on stream. That wouldn't be the first time that's happened. Yes, but that was the lid for my coffee. Now on the lid. And don't worry. I know you're worried for me. It's so funny. I looked into this. Honestly, this element being on, you could probably, maybe you can't even see that part, but it is it's a piss off, but it's better than nothing. Anyways, and also, like, I have a mouse here, like I'm using the stove as a mouse pad, essentially, at this point. Anyways, okay, so now I have to add just one tablespoon? 1 tablespoon of, which I would call a titch. You gotta add a titch of water to this to make it a dough. A dough, don't you know? That's what Betty says anyways. So, the tablespoon measurer is in my coffee. So we'll take that out. We'll put it back on so that we don't have any more concern in the chat from anybody. But thank you guys. I love you. All right, 1 single tablespoon seems hardly... Oh, I spilled some of it outside. This happens a lot. When I add something to a recipe, I sort of spill most of it, and then I have to sort of go back and retrace and unspill some of it. But sure as shit, Betty Crocker knows her fucking shit. Look at that, coming together like a dough. Like a dough. Wow. All right, Betty, you win again. Let's continue.
It's just a bunch of unfounded accusations that he's claiming, and I just feel it's a waste of the court's time to even go any farther with it.
What's the significance of the smoke coming out my window? I don't understand that.
I don't either. I didn't do that.
Yeah, let me hear from Mr. Stein.
He told me at one point, not a month before that I needed to sleep with hope,
I know you said that,
He
but then
said he texted it. I have it.
I know that.
Okay.
My question is, you said smoke coming out of the window. What?
No, he didn't say the window. He
Okay.
said he sees smoke coming up from my bedroom, like through the roof.
Okay.
I went out and had to look around. I
Okay,
looked in
so
my closet.
hang on just a minute. Mr. Wagner, what's the smoke issue? I'm confused by that.
I'm confused too, Your Honor. I didn't say anything like that.
Well, I have the text.
Do you have it? I mean,
Yeah.
what does it say? Did you submit it in your petition?
I did.
Okay, it's attached to the petition.
What's that?
It's attached to the petition, the text
No,
itself.
I had it attached after I left here.
Okay,
After I left. the-
okay, all right, hang on just a second.
Had it.
What does it say?
It says, I see smoke coming from your bedroom.
That's in a text?
Right here.
Can I see it?
It's not his normal.
Okay, you go ahead and take a seat.
Does it show my phone number, Your Honor?
No, it doesn't.
Up on top.
Well, yeah, it does. It says, but you said that's not,
I don't believe, I think it was a burner phone that he had.
okay, so this wasn't from his phone. You don't know where that came
It
from.
came from him.
Okay, well, you think it came from
It came
him.
from him right after the incident with him
All right.
having.
I'm gonna go ahead and give this back to you.
I have a text.
How you getting along with his mother these days?
She's not very happy.
I don't suspect so. Well, Mr. Wagner, what say you with regard to the smoke?
I have no idea what he's talking about. I never sent him a text saying that.
Saw a text. That's it. I have to, may I say something else?
Yes, you can.
So I have the full texting of the other incident where he said he'll mess me up. Right here.
Give that to me. Okay, you go ahead and take a seat. Was this before the,
This is the July,
yeah, but,
why I called, or why I
Right.
called the police first. the
this
first
was
time.
before the apology, right?
This was, no, yeah, this was just, I mean, like, minutes, an hour, it was that same day.
But it was before
at-
before you apologized.
Yeah, I hadn't found the blower,
Right.
but I did.
Okay, so
accuse
hang on
him
just a
of
second.
that. Yeah.
Ten-minute coffee break. Well, not for us.
All right.
We gotta keep
Give me
going,
just a
Judge,
second.
just like you. Deep sigh.
So this parking's place. And so Ms. Wren, I see you there. I'm just gonna have you mute up. We'll take your case next. I mean, is that,
I don't know how to do this. Okay, thank
well, then
you.
just be quiet, please. There you go, okay. Okay. So, so the one eye open, mess you up, that all happened. I have this context. I'm gonna read all this. Then the apology happened. And then things were tense until this parking situation, but the whole mess me up thing happened before that, right? Okay, and so this parking situation, I mean, is that a legitimate parking space or is that,
It is for visitors.
okay, when he's a
and
visitor,
for
isn't
no
he?
more than 1 or 2 days, I've been told by the management.
All right,
That's what I was told when I moved in April. Well, I bought it in April. And so I've been working on it, and that's what I assumed. It was I could walk my dog out there, it was green grass. It wasn't for people to stay very long. That's what I was told by the property manager when I checked out the property to purchase it. And she said it's for for 1 or 2 days, for guests, for guests of people, if they were having a party that, at their house and they wasn't enough parking, they could go, there's enough room for probably 20 cars back there, 15, 20 cars. And he would choose to park right behind me all the time, ever since the first incident.
all right.
And then I didn't tell you one thing. After the police left this last time, 4 or 5 police were there.
For
after
the
they
last time, what
left,
happened? Why did you call the police this last time?
because he told me about the smoke coming out of my bedroom. He saw smoke, and I've been told by my neighbor very close, who's 90 years old. I cannot get my I've been told by them that he's a dangerous guy and he's threatened to burn their house down. And I'm like, come on.
Okay, so
So that's just hearsay, I know,
right.
but he
So
just
here-
said it to me.
Here's what's going to happen today here, Mr. Mr. Stein and Mr. Wagner. First of all, again, there was a petition filed in July. Then nobody appeared at that, and so it was dismissed. And so this petition was refiled. And as far as I can tell, the issue is the sleep with one eye open incident, the mess you up comment combined, and then this vague and this smoke coming out of your window. And so again, this text chain I think is kind of interesting in that, and again, first of all, Mr. Stein says, you better chill out. I didn't take anything of yours. That was Mr. Wagner. Mr. Stein responds by saying, BS. You were the last person to use it. You have until 12 p.m. to produce it. And then Mr. Wagner says, but if you want to start something, then let's do this. But you're the one who will have to sleep with one eye open. And then you, Mr. I want to get the names right. Wagner says, you were the last one to use it. It was by your sliding glass door. Next text, and stop involving my mom in this. And if you stress her out, I'll mess you up. So the mess you up is kind of conditional. It's like, leave my mom alone.
Exactly.
And then he says, why are you going to call the cops? I didn't take your blower. You're upsetting my mom. Chill out. Why are you saying all this stuff to my mom? That's all from Mr. Wagner. Your response, where did you put the blower mark? It was by your sliding door. You put it away. I never used it. And then he goes, you owe me more than $50. You say, that's crap. You're a desperate person. I don't see the rest of that. And so that happened back in July, pre-apology. And so I'm going to give this back to you. And so as far as I can tell, the apology happened. Things remain tense, which is kind of understandable. And now there's the issue of the smoke, which I can't even make a finding that I know you think it came from Mr. Wagner. It's from an
Where there's smoke, there may be fire. Hi, Rose. Also, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Pass. And thank you, did I not say thank you to Bill, who said here's some dough. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate you guys. We are actually cooking in here, trying not to start any fires. And don't worry, we have a fun little hearing to end off our fun show today. It is, it's gonna be good. Aren't they ready yet? 4:20 on the clock. Time to spark up your doobies, take your pens, and then your cookies will be ready in approximately 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Also, I should probably use this countdown time to do a 10-second, what I call a 10-second tidy on the rest of the house that you can't see right over there. But I gotta fill the dishwasher and run it. So let's get her done. Let's listen to the judge finish this up. Do we think he's done complaining? Could you fucking imagine if this was your neighbor? If he firstly accused you of stealing and then took you to court for a TPO against you? I'm sorry, what? Oh, they're coming along. Also, they do need hobbies. Why don't you try cooking in your kitchen for people on the internet or watching court? Huh? That's what I try. Keeps me pretty busy.
no number. But you know, from where I sit, I kind of need more than that. I can't make a finding that came from Mr. Wagner. And and the park, if he's parking in a legitimate parking spot, there's, he can do that. And so, so that's a long way. And again, as I said before, I don't find that the behavior that's been attributed to either party rises to the level of harassment. And so I'm not going to enter an order at this time.
The last time you did enter, not the last time, but you entered an order, and the only evidence I had at that time was that he told me to sleep with, not the only evidence, but
That was,
I had it in writing in the text that I hope you can sleep with one eye open. You're the one that will have to sleep with one eye
Okay,
open.
so-
And I have been sleeping with one eye open ever since.
okay,
I
so
was never
here's
sure
the thing.
within.
Okay, so Mr. Wagner, just stop. Okay, so here's the thing, okay? First of all, that was a temporary order
Temporary.
in
order.
July.
Yes.
And, and I didn't say this to you, but I say it frequently, there's always two sides to every story.
Right.
And when you enter the temporary order, you're only getting one side. And so that was in front of me in July. I did enter a temporary order. When this came before a different judge, they didn't enter one. And, I always, maybe I err on the side of caution, which I typically do when you're only hearing one side of the story. And then that's why they set it for hearing, so you can hear both sides. Having heard both sides now from him and from you, I'm not going to enter an order at this time. Having said that, Mr. Wagner, I think you kind of know how because again, well, let me back up here, Lynn. Not all conflict is, and yes, there was when he said that was pre-apology. The apology went, and then the only thing since then is the smoke text, which I can't make a finding who said that, and the inconvenient place where he chooses to park. And so that's not a pattern of conduct that rises to the level of harassment. And that's my finding here today.
Can I show you one picture that I hadn't showed you, what he did after the police left? I started to tell you, but
Okay, so maybe you should just give that phone to your friend back there.
I think it was
Okay.
runner.
So hang on just a minute, Mr. Wagner. What's the picture?
He moved his, first of all, he took his license plates off of his car, but he moved his car from where it was parked behind me in that area. When the police were there, he moved it and parked this close to, well, this close, because I got my hips through there. Okay, this close to me. So I couldn't get in the car. I couldn't get in the car. And I had to go to work that day. I was able to squeeze.
Okay, Mr.
through.
Wagner, you need to be quiet. Okay.
And I have the picture of the car parked that close to me. It was that day of the police being there. Now, he was really harassing me at that time. He had a whole nother lot, and I have that picture and I have it. I just had to get it out of here. At the time that I filed, I didn't, the picture was on my phone. I didn't have it. I'm not used to going to court, not at all. It's right in here. I'm not used to having someone that, scare me ever. I
find that hard to believe. I feel like you do actually. Guys, the cookies are done. They're coming out of the oven. First of all, Casey Carey, did it make sounds? Streamlabs, why are you being so mean? I heard it. They're out. Secondly, thank you, NPC, for the membership. Welcome, Greenwall Train. Greenwall Renee 9. I don't know. Off. Here's the thing. We're gonna enjoy these. We're gonna let them cool a minute. Then we're gonna enjoy these cookies and a cup of coffee after I get finished loading the dishwasher. We are going to watch a very grumpy man yell at Judge Bronlick. Okay? And, yeah. You guys can all have one. I think there's enough for all of us that are here. If not, you can make them yourself. Oh, they smell really good. Oh, damn it. Damn it, I didn't think they would. Why didn't I think they would? I don't know. Let's and also, do we think that this guy's been scared before? I bet this guy would be scared if I brought over cookies to him as a neighbor. You know? You know what I'm saying?
my life like that ever.
Well, I'm not suggesting that series of texts was appropriate, but people don't like it when they get accused of theft either.
I
Exactly.
apologize.
I know you did,
He
and
has not apologized
Okay.
for making those threats to
okay,
me.
so but
He
I'm
hasn't
just
at
saying,
all.
Mr. Stein, you need to. Yeah, I hear you, but you need to
What?
just collect yourself here.
I've been
Okay.
really stressed
Okay.
for 2 months now, really bad.
Okay.
It's really bad.
Okay, so that's what I'm going to do here for today. And I'm going to tell you, I'll tell Mr. Stein, Mr. Wagner, Mr. Wagner, you have some choices to make too, as to where where you want to park, and you kind of want to think about how, okay, is this going to make things better, or are these going to make things worse? And so
I was
you can
told-
conduct yourself accordingly. So hang on, let me finish.
Right.
And Mr. Stein, I'll tell you, if he does, and again, parking in a place
You don't
that he's
believe
illegally allowed to park to, again, I just don't,
it, sir.
and again, I just can't make a finding that's harassing. If he does additional stuff that you believe is harassing, you can refile this, but it needs to be subsequent stuff to stuff that's already gone on.
He's
And so
threatened I mean, pretty much, he's threatened physical and physical harm to my property, myself, anybody in the house.
Okay.
And
Based
and
on-
I can't, I mean, and I'm not allowed to call the police.
Well, you are allowed to call.
Now, they say it's a civil issue.
What's that?
Another thing is, the
Okay.
park is kicking him out.
Well, then
That's really nice. I
that could
like
solve your
that.
problem. Then.
That's good, but it doesn't give me a protective order from him
All right.
harassing me.
That's it for today.
All right.
And you're free to go. Mr. Wagner, you're free to leave also.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You can get a copy of the denial order off the district court website at a later date. Ms. Wren, you can come on the Zoom call.
These people reschedule eventually. We're not going to waste our time watching it. We're going to go to some more action-packed court recorded live this morning from my kitchen. Give me 1 second here. Here we go. Also, I am going to finish loading the dishwasher. We're almost done. Hope that's the mom. Who's coughing? I don't know. And then these look great, you guys. Look at this. Perfection. And guess what? I'll give you a sneak peek for tomorrow morning. Because I think we will be making red velvet. Another Betty Crocker special. Hashtag not a sponsor yet, but I would entertain the idea. Absolutely. Judge, how are you feeling this week? I think this is, I'd like to know how you're feeling this week. You know, if you've ever worked for a boss who's quite bipolar or fucking fucked up, and your week depends on how their weekend went, basically, I feel like that's how this courtroom is. Like, how did Judge's weekend go? Did everybody get to their lessons on time? Did everybody participate fully? You know, just like DJ Kometz, if there's, you know, trees that fall down, that impacts him a lot. And I just feel like, oh, here he comes. All right, I'll shut up. Let's find out.
Recalling the matter of Hope Smith versus David C. Slack.
Once again, this matter is before the court for purpose of reviewing the defendant father's parents.
I will update my wish list, Christopher Engelby. And in fact, Bill, I'll try and see if I can put some of the Dolly Parton mixes on there. I don't know that we can get them in Canada. And Carol, get me the recipe. I love baking from scratch. This was a request from somebody. in the house. And thank you, Chris, and thank you, Casey Carey. Why is Casey Carey's not showing up, Streamlabs? This is getting annoying. We're gonna have to talk about it later. I appreciate it. I thank you. I'm confused. Also, let's see what happens. Yeah, I love recipes. I love making things from scratch too. I make a wicked cheesecake that takes 2 days to make. But it's so fucking delicious. Mayor, we love you too. Thank you for being here. Casey Carey, I really do appreciate it. I see it. I do not understand. Well, you know, Carol, I got almost all the equipment. Almost all of it. What am I working with? Big brain. Anyways, yeah, my cheesecake recipe is to die for, and I'm happy to share it. But it costs so much money to make at this day and age. Like, it's so cheesecakey. Chris, you passed your physical this morning. I'm so proud of you. Oh, Chris has reminded me that I need to call for my appointment. Thank you, Christopher. You're always taking good care of me. Okay, back to it.
Any time the court has reviewed with the parties' recommendation of Mr. Pratt for the front of the court, Ms. Nemec, you've had now a chance to discuss recommendation with your client, Ms. Smith, is that correct?
It is.
And she's opposed to the recommendation, the reason?
She is. She believes that Mr. Cieslak's parenting time should be supervised at the outset. The reason being the substantiated CPS allegation where Mr. Cieslak did slap Leon twice in the face, leaving two bruises, I'm sorry, that lasted over a week. She feels that Mr. Cieslak has been abusive toward Leon for the entire 13 years of his life, and that if he is given unsupervised parenting time at this point, that Leon would be at risk for this behavior continuing. She also feels that in this time, since Mr. Cieslak's parenting time has been suspended, that she's seen a marked improvement in Leon. He continues to go to therapy. His grades are improving. He has made friends at school. He's engaged in activities and demonstrating, happiness and lack.
Don't slap children in the face. Also, past Courtney is the resident plant person amongst us. I know there's others too, but Courtney loves plant conundrums, so ask Courtney. She might be here later. This is a weird time for us all, although I will say get used to it. I think this will become a regular fixture, at least for the winter. The fall, I like feeling cozy and cooking with y'all in the daytime, so we'll see how that goes. Anyways, but yes, Courtney would be the plant lady. This is terrible though. Don't slap children in the face. That is not discipline. That's not discipline. Discipline is going to be me eating one of these cookies. Oh, laughs in French.
Of anxiety that he was not demonstrating previously. In fact, right before our last hearing, Leon had gotten into trouble at school for punching another child in the face. And he's not exhibiting any of those behaviors now that he is not engaging in parenting time with Mr. Cieslak. She would, as I said, like to see supervised parenting time. She'd also like to see counseling established for Mr. Cieslak and Leon. As I said, Leon already has his own counselor, but we'd like to see Mr. Cieslak and Leon attend counseling together with a different counselor.
Okay, has there been any authorization by the prosecutor?
There has not. No, I did speak with Mr. Lorraine a couple of weeks ago. He indicated that the prosecutor's office is declining to authorize charges. The reason was that they felt that the issue was handled by CPS and would be handled by this court.
Okay. Has Mr. Cezak, have you completed an anger management counseling program?
Yes, Your Honor, I have. And may I respond to any of that she said at this
One
moment?
moment.
Or
Ms.
okay.
Nemec, have you received documentation verification that Mr. Cezak has completed an anger management program?
Yes, this morning we received documentation that he enrolled on July 16th and it was completed on July 17th. So it appears it was likely an online course and not very substantial.
Okay. And all right, Mr. Cezak, your response?
Yes, sir, Your Honor. What brought us here in the first place was me seeking ex parte custody, believing that my son was being abused. The last time that we were here, or when we were here to review that ex parte, and I met Ms. Nemec for the first time, she was saying that Leon was doing fine in school then, and now he's doing better than he was, but he was doing great then. Counseling, I honestly believe that Leon should be in counseling. That's great. He's lied to the courts. He's lied to Toledo courts. He's lied to Monroe courts. We are here because I initially thought he was being abused. The CPS allegation.
Hold on. I just ate that delicious cookie. I'm drinking my delicious coffee. Oh, the caffeine and the sugar are working together. The attention from you all. Oh, my dopamine is firing. And then I hear this shitbag fucking saying his kid needs counseling. I'm like, okay. Because he's a liar? Oh. Well, now I need another cookie. And you're supposed to get none, Dad. I'm sorry. That's not the way to do that. It's so self-serving. It's just so obvious to me. It's like so obvious. So obvious. So obvious. Okay. One more cookie. See, I discipline myself kindly. They're fucking delicious. Not as good as like super homemade, but definitely easier than scratch cookies.
On July 17th, when we were here, they were saying that Leah Hubbard was going to be prosecuting at that time, and that Erie Police Department was going to be prosecuting. I talked to them right after I got out of that court hearing, and they both assured me that they had already reviewed those cases and that they weren't seeking prosecution. That was on July 17th, the day of our last review. We're here because my son has been lying about both of his parents, and I've waited until our review date to bring it forward, but I want to just see my son and move forward with it. There's no prosecution. I've spoke to Erie prosecutors and Monroe prosecutors on multiple occasions, and they've assured me that there's no prosecution whatsoever. The prosecutors of Monroe had not even heard my name. So I would honestly like to just continue moving forward with what we had going on for a number of years of me having my son every weekend except for the fourth week of the month. I have him Wednesday through Friday. And instead of having that, I would prefer to have him on Wednesday so I can take him to church. I'm active I go to Oaks of Righteousness with my church group. I go to church every Tuesday with a group of men who are very active in Monroe with many different organizations that we have in our community. And I attend Wednesday and Sunday. And I've been doing that for quite a few number of months. And it's with where Leon goes to school, having him in church is difficult because he doesn't have any acceptance towards the faith at all. He goes towards, and it's just, I want to just see my son. I want to let him know that he made a mistake, that we can move forward. And I don't want him to continue to be able to live in his mistake and to be able to say that I'm an abusive parent, because that's just what would have happened with his mom in the spring. I wouldn't have wanted that to happen to his mom. And I'm embarrassed and ashamed of where we're at because of what my son's been saying. And I want to just move forward. And it's.
You understand, so you cannot assault your son.
Yes, sir, I do. And it hasn't been labeled as assault. It was,
Hold on. Did you slap him?
I did smack him in the mouth. Yes, sir, I did.
Hey, that's an assault, sir. That's an assault. What time is church on Sunday?
Church on Sundays at 10:30.
All right, well, this recommendation would allow you to take them to church on Sundays. The recommendation is every Saturday from 5 till Sunday at 5. And with review November 19th, 2024, you need to have some constructive discussions with your son rather than blaming him. And if the court's going to adopt this, there should be no corporal punishment. Neither of you should assault your son.
And that was
You
after
understand
that. Yes, sir, Your
Is
Honor.
Leanne currently involved in counseling?
What is she bending down doing? William, I made cookies. If I didn't know better, she looks like she's not even smart enough to turn off her camera, and I don't know what she's bumping down there. Let's put it that way. What is she doing? Seriously, it's weird. It's like Ori yesterday and probably later tonight, disappearing all the time. It's fucked up. Oh, those cookies are good. I'm gonna have to package them away. That's the way I won't eat them. I'm gonna package them away.
He is, Your Honor.
All right. All right. The court understands, Ms. Nimick, your client's concerned, but we need to, the court's not quite ready to restore full parenting time to dad, but let's give us a try.
Your Honor.
Leon's 12 years old. If in
Your
fact
Honor.
there's an issue, he can voice that. He's old enough to voice that. So at this time, the court's going to adopt the recommendation. I hear you, Mr. Cezak. This time let's start slow.
When she was
Saturday,
being
start
accused
this
of
weekend,
abuse,
Saturday 5
and
to
it was
Sunday at 5. Review the matter November 19th at 10 o'clock. So there's be no corporal punishment of the minor child. We can add that to the recommendation, Ms. Patrick, and the child shall continue to engage in counseling. Okay, any questions, Mr. Cezak?
Yes, I would please like to speak. When she was
What's your
being
question?
accused, Your Honor, when she was being accused of abusing our son.
What's your question?
And I do not have a question. I have the fact that when I need to respect her as his mother, because there is no prosecution from Toledo Police and there's no prosecution from Toledo Police Department. Those are your words exactly. Yes, but your word. Yes, we have. But your words exactly were that there were no police prosecution from Toledo Police. There was no prosecution from Ohio Police Department or Ohio prosecutors.
It's a family matter.
It is a family matter. It is. But then you said that I need to respect her as his mother. Were your exact words? Do I not get the door that swings both ways in your court? Where's the respect for me? He's lied about me, and I did smack him across the mouth. I did admit to it, but it was indiscipline, and it was labeled as discipline, which is exactly why the Erie Police and the prosecutors of Monroe are not pressing charges. So I would please like the same courtesy that you gave her, and I would like my parenting times reinstated.
We can discuss that November 19th. Let's see how things go.
November 19th is too long, Your Honor. November 19th is too long, and I've already not seen my son since June, and I've already had my parenting time suspended because of lies. I would like the same courtesy that she received from you, Your Honor, please.
All right. Well, again, there should be no corporal punishment. Again, there's other ways to discipline a child without the physical striking, Mr. Cezak. So let's move things slowly, and let's see how these Saturdays. It's overnight Saturday.
Have you read the CPS report? Have you read the CPS report, and have you read the circumstances of how he got smacked in the mouth, Your Honor? Because he did have it coming, and you know what? A bruise tends to happen. And the last time we were here was a 3-day long bruise, and now it's a week. Next time we're here, it'll be a week and a half. Everything is exaggerated by Ms.
Very challenging.
Don't acknowledge it.
Yes, but
yes, they are extremely challenging. But what's more challenging is your family court system, Your Honor. And the fact that it is biased and that I am not receiving the same courtesy that she received less than 3 months ago is alarming.
Okay, this court's not in the event of trying to give courtesies. The court is trying to make the best.
You're not in the event of justice and doing what you're not, or else you would have taken her from him.
All right,
you would have taken. This is absurd.
Mr. Cezak, you can make a claim at the Michigan Court of Appeals. If you disagree with this court's decision, you could go to the Michigan Court of Appeals. But your parenting time will start this Saturday, Sunday at 5. Who's going to pick up?
When am I going to be getting the same courtesy from your courtroom as Ms. Smith? When is my parenting time going to be reinstated? How can she do the exact? She smacked him in the mouth and abandoned him, according to that police report. And what? I smack him in the mouth after he'd been lying to me for 3 months, and I do not understand it, Your Honor. I told him he was getting smacked in the mouth, and I put him in the corner. And you know what? that you're allowed to smack them in the mouth. You're not allowed to leave a mark, but you are not allowed to, and that's why it was put on that I should spank him through clothing, was our recommendation from Miss McFall. And
Well, the front of the court's going to do a parenting time investigation. So the court can, when we come back in November, we'll have more information from the front of the court. Hopefully we can get back.
just another few months, I don't get to see my son.
That will conclude this hearing. I'm not going to argue with all morning. I'm trying to make a decision. This court.
It's not an argument. You're biased, and it's extremely insulting.
The court has made that decision, and that will conclude this hearing.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, put that docket for November 26th, please.
You see?
Stephanie, you can bring
Look
yours
at the
out.
good court I found. Oh, it's on the dock. I check Bronwick's court every day.
Are we ready for McLaughlin to come back out?
Yes,
Okay,
bring them out.
all right. Thank you.
Now we go to the lid bin. This is where I keep all the lids of all of the containers that we have in the house. And I keep them all in this bin. And then all the containers go on the shelf right over here. So that way I can just come in and find my lid in the bin. And it's a lot easier to put them away like that. I find it the easiest. But there's always that one big one that's having a hard time fitting. That's what she said. Oh shit, are we doing this? I guess.
We're calling the matter of William McLaughlin versus Misty McLaughlin.
Well, the parties have again conferred regarding the motion filed by Ms. Kuhn to compel documents. Court has received a revised recommendation stating that Mr. McLaughlin shall provide discovery answers to his attorney, who will provide that information to Ms. Kuhn within 14 days of today's date. Mr. Towers, that additional recommendation acceptable?
It is, Your Honor.
Right. Again, did we discuss further about this third party that Mr. McLaughlin is recommending, or Mr. Towers recommending as a unification counselor? We do need a unification counselor. So what's the harm in at least appointing this person, unless there is at least the parties can meet with this party, at least get the matter moving.
Your Honor, I think you had recommended that the name be given to Mr. Haskins, and I believe Mr. Tower was going to do that. So not opposed. If Mr. Haskins is fine with that, then let's do it. Fine with that.
All right, so we can add this recommendation that the parties shall parties in the children shall engage in reunification counseling with, what's the name of this person, Mr. Tower?
Well,
Her name is Alicia Lieto, ELISHA and she's at Tree by the Sea.
The court has heard that organization. So we can put this recommendation that the reunification counseling shall be conducted by this person, provided Mr. Haskins has no objection.
That's fine.
We're fine with that, Your Honor.
Mr. Pratt, were you able to get that individual's name? If you could add that to the recommendation.
What was the last name, Your Honor? I could barely hear it.
It's Lieto, Lieto.
Okay. Yep. I've got it. Thank you.
We can add that that person shall conduct reunification counseling, provided Mr. Haskins has no objection.
Yes, sir.
Anything further than this morning, Mr. Tower or Ms. Kuhn?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, and hopefully you can have some progress when you come back on November 12th at 9 a.m.
Thank you very much, Judge.
Thank you,
All right,
Judge.
that will conclude this matter.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Have a good day, Judge. Pleasure as always.
In fact, the pleasure is always mine. well, maybe that big. I don't think so. Not that big. I hope you guys had a good time today. We made the chocolate chip cookies. It was a blast. We've now packaged them up into glass. Yeah, humble brag, I guess. These are not mine. I do think they're good, but not for leaving the house. It's like, lucky for me, I don't leave the house. So I pack my lunch, quote unquote, in these, but if I was walking to work every day instead of like 15 feet from my studio to the kitchen, then I would not be toting around glass containers. But they are good. I'll give them that. We are on our track for 2 shows a day this week. It's gonna be great. Also, I wanted to mention that these cookies, this package of cookies from Betty Crocker, hashtag not a sponsor yet, but it made 11 cookies by my measurement, not 12, but it made 11 cookies, and it costs approximately $2.50 Canadian. And that I'm upping the price for the butter that I included. So if you were to reduce the cost in America, I bet it would be even cheaper to make these. So if I were you, I would put these in your cupboard for those nights when you feel like having some fresh cookies, but you don't want to have every ingredient or make a big mess. That was actually very, very simple and easy. It sounds like an advertisement now. I fucking wish I had a sponsor like Betty Crocker. I don't. But Betty Crocker, you can send me anything you want. Just have your people call my people. But yeah, these are delicious. And Sherry, you can, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, they are better than the ones you cut and bake. And Sherry, don't worry, I'll be back tonight with more part 3 of Grandparents' Rights case. So don't miss it. That's later tonight. In between, what do we have to do? We have to run the dishwasher. We have to clean. And we have to go to the gym. So you do what you gotta do. I'll do what I gotta do. We'll meet back here, 6 o'clock Pacific. That's 9 p.m. Eastern, maybe? Yeah, that's the time. That's the time. Sherry, let us know how they turned out. We baked ours $3.75 for, was it 10 minutes? It was 10 minutes. And in fact, Sherry, I would recommend just going back and watching what I did. I added the butter and softened it very slightly in the microwave because it's not exactly soft, but I think that's the key. You guys, I love ya. I am so thankful that you're here this week. Thank you guys for all the donos. It's been wonderful. Thank you for worrying about my Stovo. If I could get that fixed, I would, but the working stove is better than not. Anywho, thanks again. I love you. I'm proud of you. And I will see you tonight. Later in the next video. Bye. Oh, also, please hit that like button. It really helps me out with YouTube, Daddy. I said goodbye.
Ways down and ready to ride.